I don't have friends. I have family.
Like, I never really thought about the heist side of it.
I was like, where the f*** is Leon?
I think we just found a way to save Fast and Furious. What's up, crew? Welcome to episode 4 of Prjct.POD, a podcast where we talk about cars, because they're awesome. And what else are we going to talk about? This episode, we dive into what we thought was the downfall of Fast and Furious. As all of you should know, if you're a car person, this is how you found our channel, and you likely have watched most of, if not all of the Fast and Furious movies. They've gotten to number 10. And I think there's plans for number 11. We asked the question, have they deviated too far from the original idea, or have they been doing the original idea this whole time and they just maybe went too far? And then completely by accident, I think Justin and I have figured out what the savior of the Fast and Furious franchise can be. So stay tuned towards the end of the episode and enjoy. I have this interesting idea. I'm going to run it by you right now. What if at the beginning of every episode, assuming that I buy these every time, we check the lotto first, and then we get down to the end like, nope, not a millionaire.
No, we suck.
We still have to work hard to get our money.
Please, now watch our podcast because we're not millionaires.
I got $4 on this one. Got the Powerball.
I'm bad. Buys 4 tickets for you or whatever, right?
Yeah. No, 2. $2 each.
Solid.
Here, let's see. Hey, we got a mega. This one is worth $2 so far. And then the numbers, 18, nope, 19, nope, 50, 47, nope, 52, nope, 70. Well, got $2 from this ticket. I'll check the rest of the numbers later. We're not millionaires, so
that's more than I've ever made on any fucking ticket. I never win that shit.
Have you seen all of the Fast and Furious?
No. I pretty much stopped watching them after the 7th.
Which is not that far off. I think we're on 10, right?
Yeah, we're like 25 or some shit like that. I don't know.
Fast X, it's the new Land Before Time.
It
which
pretty much died for me when Paul Walker died. I was like, you can't continue this series. Like, I have such a problem with that whole fucking, like, the last 3 movies. I've watched some parts of them. I haven't really watched a lot of them. I think I watched 8, actually. I might have stopped at 8.
Just to make sure, you're like, Paul Walker has exited. Let's see if they can pull this off.
I think I watched the one where they didn't have him in it finally. Because I think the 7th one they did, like, they had done some filming with him or something, and his brother came in and finished as like a body double or whatever. And then they had him like, oh, he is going to leave the crew because, he has to go take care of his kid. But the whole crew is about family. So like his fucking, like, he would be there. Yeah. So that's like my first gripe was like, they're all like, I don't have friends. I have family. And he's like, one of the characters is leaving to go take care of their family. That's my first gripe. And then the second, which is probably my biggest fucking issue with like them writing Brian out, is that they keep bringing Mia back. Why is fucking Mia coming back to do shit? And Brian, like, you would figure of the two, Brian is probably better at driving.
Yeah.
For the sake that he was one of the main characters, and they're having the wife, like, so she doesn't care about the kid? Like, what the fuck?
Well, she's Dom's sister, so I guess that's reason to bring her back versus, like, anybody else. But
Brian is Dom's brother. Like, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. Like, don't bring Mia back. Sorry, you had to write her out, too. Like, that whole family should have gone, and then maybe there would have been some semblance of continuity on the reasoning for leaving. But like, you can't say that he's leaving to go take care of his kid and then be like, oh, but the wife.
Yeah.
Like,
she doesn't want to take care of her kid.
Yeah. Like, does she not care about little Dom? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Hey, you mean little, what does he call him? Whatever. Anyways.
I think his name is Dom.
Dominic. No. Oh, they named him Dom?
Yeah, they named the kid Dominic. Yeah.
See, that's how out of touch I am with it. I don't even know which one I stopped at because I got the poor taste in my mouth just with the number of them, that it's like, it's just getting to be too much. Like, they're trying to ride the wave that Marvel tried to do, or successfully did, which is like have such a continuance that it's not just a sequel, it's a 3-quel, it's a 4, it's a 5.
Yeah.
But like the first one to really do it was flipping Land Before Time, and most of people who will ever watch this or listen to this probably don't even know what I'm saying. So Google Land Before Time and see how many of those were created. It's a little cartoon movie of some dinosaurs. Somehow they don't age, and I'm pretty sure they are actually on like number 25. It's still going.
No, they're fucking. I'm waiting. We're starting to watch that with Logan, and I'm waiting for the movie where the asteroid finally comes out and wipes them all out. Like, they just need to do that shit.
I mean, Ice Age kind of did it too. But anyways, going back to the topic. So I actually had written it down as what was the downfall of Fast and Furious. And I think you just provided your personal reason, which is they, with the passing of Paul Walker, which was, super tragic. Like I was pretty shocked by that. And that was a dark time for like just being into the car culture and having such a, Fast and Furious had such an impact on why we love cars. Like you either love cars because you saw Fast and Furious and you're freaking in, or you watched Cars, which is like the next generation of people who are into cars, and that sparked your interest. Or Hot Wheels, I guess, before Fast and Furious.
Yeah. I mean, I think like what Fast and Furious did for like the car community is really just kind of put a spotlight on the cars themselves. Like the writing for the movies have been shit always. Like, I'm sorry.
Well,
Too Fast, Too Furious. Like,
they had to make it a movie. It couldn't just be about racing.
Yeah, it was like, hey, we ain't hungry no more. Cut. Like, who says cut? Like, that wasn't ever cool.
Tyrese.
That was never fucking cool. And they had Paul Walker, that was like this white dude in the first one that like barely was able to go 140 miles an hour, and all of a sudden like he's from like Barstow and like he has like this fucking like edge to him. Like that doesn't make sense at all. So like the writing has always been shit. I think probably the best movie in the series was the fifth one, not from a writing perspective, but the storyline was kind of dope. But it highlighted these cars, these really cool fucking cars that people always wanted to do, but were like either a little nervous to do it because they would get made fun of, or they didn't have the money, or they just didn't have the know-how. And it kind of really created a springboard into go out and do that car. Like, it's cool now, it's fine, it's in a movie, like it's cool. And so people got into like you're saying, got into cars because a lot of people got into cars because of Fast and Furious, and really that modification of the cars, not really. Cars themselves. Cars have always been really popular. That style, that JDM, body kit, fat wing, loud ass exhaust for no fucking reason
other than to be loud being exhaust. Yeah, I mean, I guess, damn, my light fell down now. That whatever. I'm not even going after it.
I got a mount for mine now. We're good.
Yeah,
it's not coming down.
I have a mount for my other desk. This one's more mobile, so I can take it apart faster.
Yeah,
So I feel like, from my memory and my experience, the Fast and Furious lineage is this. The first one came out, and it was not necessarily about cars and racing. That was a huge aspect of it because of the culture of it, right? It wasn't like it was a movie about somebody who specifically was just into modifying cars. He was into modifying cars, but he was also doing it because he's supposed to be secret agent man and trying to get into, catching Dom. But the aspect of it was big enough where it was like, you open a hood and you see some dope modification that makes you want to do it yourself.
Yeah.
And then Too Fast, Too Furious came out, and they still had that sort of on the ground aspect of modifying a car. They had the Evo, they had the Eclipse, they had a flippin', what was it? It wasn't a Barracuda, but it was a muscle car. Those two, one was a Camaro, the other one was like a Dodge probably.
Yeah.
And that you had these cars that were attainable. You had these cars that you could be like, yep, I could build that. And there's a bunch of builds online that are replicating the Fast and Furious cars. And then they had this weird pivot, which is probably where they were thinking we can do a whole universe, probably having some trouble with signing the original cast. So they went off in a different direction with Tokyo Drift. But again, on the ground, a bunch of cars that were modified that seemed doable, like 350Zs, another Evo, Sylvia, all of these cars that you could buy yourself and make them look like that and do that. And then they're like, oh, we could bring this back and this could be a franchise. We could do this all crazy. And then they went in the direction of superheroes. Like, no longer is it a car that you can build yourself. These are all ridiculous cars that do the most ridiculous things. And their mission is, if you so choose to accept.
Well, I've told this to people before, and I don't think people realize that the Fast and Furious franchise isn't a car movie franchise. It's a heist movie franchise. They
Yeah.
do heists.
The whole time.
They just use dope ass cars to do the heist.
Yep.
And like when you kind of start looking at it from that framework, I think that with the exception of like 2 movies, every single one of them, they're stealing shit. Like they just steal shit.
Yeah. No, the premise of the first one was that there was a heist happening all the time, and you had the cop Paul Walker and team trying to catch them. And then Paul Walker just fell in love with the wrong side of the curve, and he's like, I'm gonna do this side.
Yeah, I'm gonna let him go.
I like this.
I found my family. The Buster brought me home.
Yeah, the Buster, baby Buster. That's what I was trying to think of earlier. That's what you should have called him. Not Dom.
Yeah, baby
Buster.
Yeah, like even that, like the Too Fast, Too Furious, they were they tried to heist the money from whatever his name was.
What was his name?
Damn, I'll take my coda back. That dude, whatever.
Pockets ain't empty.
Yeah, every time I think about him, I always say Lou Ferrigno, but like he's not the Hulk. Like it's some like crazy name like that, right? The third one wasn't necessarily heist, but it was criminal underground type shit. Fourth one, they were heisting gas. Fifth one, they heisted a whole fucking safe. The sixth one, they were running away from somebody, but they had to like steal a chip or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember
the hacker. I remember
what they
that.
Fucking stole from the seventh one. But to the point, they tried to create like a universe, like with the Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, that didn't work at all.
Spin-off. They did it. I think didn't they do another spin-off outside?
I think
they
planned to, but they just never did it because Hobbs and Shaw did not perform. Like I
liked that movie actually. I didn't think it was that bad.
It was okay. Like so, it's just like most opinions on like MCU, where people are like, "Oh my god, that was a horrible movie," and I watched it, I'm like, "It wasn't that bad." It's because like I like that type of movie, and unless you like the last one, it's pretty bad. It's like, don't go see it in theaters. I feel like Hobbs and Shaw wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was a completely ridiculous movie, but just like you said earlier, it's like trying to deviate too much from the original idea, which in this case, it's funny because like I never really thought about the heist side of it. I always just thought it was, number one was so car heavy. Number two was pretty car heavy, but started to peel back. Tokyo Drift, very, very car heavy. And then it started to feel like it was getting away from that more and more. But then when you really do think about it, it is just a big heist movie over and over again. And I think, in my opinion, it fell off when they just started to go too big. They thought, every single heist needed to be bigger for some reason, when literally all you had to do was switch up the dope hero car. Yeah. And we would be happy. Still make it a fun heist, but like, stay in this zone.
Right. I think the fifth one, in my opinion, I know people are going to fucking shit on me about this, but I think the fifth one is the best movie in the series.
Yeah, I got to rewatch it.
It had all the elements of, having dope ass cars. Like they had like the 72 Skyline in the beginning, sequence. They had a fucking GT40 that was like decked out. That looked super dope. They had a bunch of cars that they did heist at the very beginning, right? When Dom and Brian got back together. They had the fact that Mia was pregnant. They did do crazy builds to try to steal the safe. They went to an underground racing event, right? Like they had all the elements of like, this could be kind of, with the exception of dragging like a 30-ton safe throughout like downtown Rio.
Yeah. Wasn't this the one where Dom stomps the ground and basically breaks the parking structure?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the 8th one. Yeah, I think that's the 8th one. No, this one, like they literally decided to steal money.
I remember
from,
the
like,
safe.
This criminal overlord guy.
Yeah.
And he put it all into one safe. And like the planning was like pretty sound. Like, when you look at it from a logic perspective, if one of their storehouses got hit, they would try to consolidate to protect it. And so like that was their plan, was to get him to consolidate and then steal it all at one time. Dragging with 2 Dodge Chargers. Sorry, don't have enough horsepower. I don't care what kind of fucking police car you have. You're not dragging a 30-ton fucking safe through buildings. Like they threw it through a building. Yeah, that's a little unrealistic. But in the sense of like cars dragging a safe and like trying to get away from the police, it's semi-realistic. So they had, semi-realistic aspects to it. solid planning. The writing was okay. They kind of went back to the roots of like going to the underground races, having modified cars. And it wasn't anything fucking crazy. It wasn't like taking a fucking car and making it a spaceship. Like they did that in one of the movies. I was like, who's doing this now? Who's
I think that was 9 or 10. Yeah.
Like I literally think some dude is like in a fucking office just ripping lines of coke and it's like, what can I come up with right now for the next movie?
Have you seen this guy? He's an actor, I think, or he's trying to be one, and he does a lot of Instagram content. And it's like the producer's coming up with the next Fast and Furious movie, and he comes storming into a conference room, and there's people sitting at the table, and he pitches it in such the most ridiculous, like he literally just did a line of cocaine. And he's like, okay, the next one what car's he gonna have?
I haven't seen that.
I'm gonna send it to you, and I'm gonna put it in this like as a cut because he does it for like Jurassic World, he does it for all of the most extreme out like Avatar. Like the most outlandish things, but it's like him. He's just like, all right.
Yeah, that's what I feel like they're doing. They're just like doing a shit ton of drugs, and then they have like a dartboard they might just throw shit at. It's like, you know what? That'll fucking work.
What car are we going to use this time?
Yeah, just like
Pinto.
put a blindfold on and chuck it as hard as you can, and wherever it lands, right? Like
we are using a Nissan Altima as the hero car this summer.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Who are we bringing back from the dead? Say a name over there. Hurry up.
Yeah.
All right.
That also pissed me off. Like fucking all these people coming back from the dead. Brian can't come back for one scene, dude. Like what the fuck?
There's a reason for that.
Yeah, I know. Well, honestly, like after the 7th one, they should have just stopped. Fast and Furious franchise. You know, they can keep the franchise or the universe, but like that series is done. You can't do it without Brian. You can't. I'm sorry. Like
it's interesting you feel that way. I know Brian's an anchor, or Paul.
Yeah.
Like Dom is also an anchor of that series.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or Vin Diesel. And then everybody else who's been a part of it since the beginning, right? Before Tokyo Drift, I'd even say. So bringing back Han is like fine the way they did it. And he's totally a cool character. But like Tyrese, Ludacris, Vin Diesel, and the person who plays Letty, like them being back in makes me feel like it's okay to continue. But it sounds like you just have a pain in your heart for how they did it.
I almost cried when I heard Paul Walker died. I actually
100%.
remember where I was at that night, like when it happened. Yes, I do. I was probably a little bit biased.
Yeah.
I don't think it should go on without Paul. But really, when I look at the series, right, and you look like the way that they've kind of positioned these characters, you had like this conflicting kind of bromance brewing between Dom and Brian, and Brian's life kind of shifts when he lets Dom go and he becomes this underground racer and, you know, this guy that's really running from the law. Even with like they had that prelude short before Too Fast, Too Furious, where it's kind of showing Brian's progression into, that rebel, right? And so with Too Fast, Too Furious and Fast and Furious, right? We have two kind of friend groups, family groups that have been created. One's Brian's, one's Dom's, and they kind of merge finally in the 5th one where they kind of bring everybody together. And the 5th one is really when they become a quote unquote family, right? They call everybody over and they bring, introduce everybody to, throughout the crews that they've made from the first 4 movies. The problem, and the reason why I say like you just stop the franchise at that point is while these people all kind of became quote unquote family, they haven't had the time to really develop into what would be considered like the what Brian and Dom had. They didn't really have time. They just did a job. They did a job together, right? That was it. That's how crews are. You do a job, you go. You don't become family after that. You have to go through some shit that, some really emotional shit to kind of do that. And that was what kind of connected Brian and Dom was that.
No, keep it Brom.
It's was Brian in the first movie, right? Dom confides in Brian about why he beat the shit out of that dude. And then Brian lets him go. That created a bond in them because they weren't making money from it. There was no incentive for them to do this, right? With the other movies of those people being introduced, the incentive was they're going to make money. So they're there, right? There was no incentive of I'm doing this for family. They were there for it, right? So after the 7th one, when it kind of did give them that family dynamic a little bit because somebody was trying to come and kill them, I think they could have gone off and just had Dom, Vin Diesel's character, still doing heists around the world, but then like calling on some of these guys every once in a while, like, hey, let's do it for Brian. Right. But like
Yeah.
they could have situated where like Dom got into so much trouble that he had to leave. He had to jet. Right. And, everyone kind of went about living the rest of their lives. And, out of respect for Brian's child and not wanting them to not wanting little Dom to grow up and have this lifestyle, seeing how bad it was of them always being on the run, decides never to call on Brian or Mia ever again. Right.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, he is going to need expert help. So he calls Ludacris, he calls Tyrese, he calls, Han or whoever, and kind of builds a crew. And I think that would be a really cool dynamic. You would never know who's going to be on the crew in the next movie. Right.
Yeah. But I mean, to your point, though, what I think I just sort of pulled together is regardless of Paul Walker's death, it seems like what they really should have done is just closed it at 5. Because what really truly happened is both story arcs completed. And what they're trying to do now is to hold on to this franchise that makes them tons of money. And they just keep doing bigger and bigger stuff. That doesn't make sense. Like, we're just bringing all these guys together because. But in reality, the first movie, you had this idea that there was a officer and a troublemaker, and while trying to catch the troublemaker, the officer became close to the people closer to the troublemaker. In the second one, he continues that arc without the original people, meeting new people, and kind of does the same thing where he was trying to get the dude who was moving money and doing illegal stuff.
Verone.
Yes.
God,
because I was trying to think of it because I had Dylan do that skit with me in Madison, and Dylan goes, Verone's looking for drivers. When do we start?
When do we start?
What are we driving? Anyways, so there's like this idea that he has another moment where he gets his old friend out of, house arrest and rekindles that bond of like, man, maybe this is the side that I'd rather be on instead of, big government trying to squash. Although he doesn't go with Verone, he still captures Verone. So like there's the good side of it. And that's why there's that duality of like, I'm doing bad shit, but we're still trying to catch the really bad guys.
Yeah.
And then Tokyo Drift kind of did its own thing, which, I won't even go into detail on that one. After that, they sort of started the route of going bigger and bigger, but still maintain the original idea.
Yeah.
But they brought everyone together. So this idea of family got bigger and bigger and more connected, but it should have just ended. Like, they haven't truly ended the arc of Dom. They just keep spreading Dom until he's going to be 90 like Wolverine.
Yeah, like, you're going to be doing this till you're 90. And I kind of thought about it, but I never actually thought about the story arcs and them, coming to a close, not ending, but closing. And really, you're right. The 5th one has that fucking closure at the very end. It was the first time they actually completed a heist that big successfully.
Yeah.
They had all the money. Everybody was set, right? They were all in their non-extradition countries. They were set. The ending scene was Brian and Dom talking about, hey, we need, I want another crack at a race, right?
Yeah.
And it shows the 35 Skyline and the new Charger that they had bought with that money. And, Mia's pregnant, very pregnant. So obviously this was, 6 to 8 months later after that heist, and they were kind of living out their lives. And you could have definitely closed it right there. Like that closed all of the arcs of everybody kind of, doing their own thing. And to my point about before, where like Brian is really, you have the anchor characters. Brian and Dom are the anchor characters. Without those 100%. Guys, it's not a thing. At the end of the 5th one, everybody else went and did their own thing. Tyrese was with Ludacris. The 2 Hispanic dudes went to, some casino somewhere, whatever. Like everybody was everywhere else. Brian, Dom, Letty, and Mia all chose to be in the same area together.
Yeah, because those are the original 4. If you wanted to call it, like, obviously Dom's crew isn't a part of any of these. I mean, some of them are dead.
Yeah, well, the 5th one, God, what was his fucking name? The guy who always calls Paul Walker's character Busta.
Oh, he was in it?
He was in it. He died. He died in that.
About that. I forgot about. See, I'm gonna rewatch Fast 5 either today.
Yeah, he died in that one. But yeah, Leon. And I read, because after I rewatched this, a couple of them not too long ago, and I was like, where the fuck is Leon? Like, I know Jesse died. He got fucking lit up in the first one. He dead.
He got Uzi'd.
Yeah. So he's gone.
By
You know where
Tran.
Lenny was at. Fucking Busta guy was in the fifth one, but I was like, what the fuck happened to Leon? The one dude that was like, sounded like he smoked cigarettes like every 30 seconds.
We got no cops.
Come on, Dub, it's spinning. I told you it's spinning, man. It's your fuel map. That guy. Like, where the fuck did that guy go?
He's flipping burgers. Who knows?
You talk about family so much in the movie. This guy's been absent for fucking like
Dom, where's your original family, man?
Yeah.
That's freaking funny. Holy shit. I didn't until this conversation think about like the original group. And I obviously know they've not been a part of it other than the ladies of the crew.
Yeah.
But like that shit's hilarious. Like where are they? That'd be a great spinoff. Where are they now?
Yeah. It's just one. It's just Leon. The other two are dead. Like, where the fuck is Leon?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what happened to that guy?
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's hilarious because like that the first one and the second one are legitimately, other than the second one f***ing up with the spiders eclipse, obviously, but
yeah.
And the first one didn't have an Evo, actually, now that I think about it.
No, the first one didn't have an Evo. It was the Eclipse and the Supra.
Yeah, Supra.
That were the Eclipse, Supra, and the Charger were like the main one. I think, and maybe we could talk about that, the secret cars, like the cars that you have your main cars, your hero cars or whatever. But then there's a couple of cars, like especially in the first one, that you're like, wait a second.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I've seen that where under the livery, and under some of the body kit, you're like, oh, I didn't even realize that was. Isn't one of them driving an R34, or is it the 33?
No, in the first one there's a 33, but Dom's RX-7. That thing got very little screen time, and that shit was dope. That thing looks sick as fuck.
Yeah, now
like
that's
a very popular car.
Yeah,
like that RX-7, super sick. Obviously, in the second one, you had the Evo and the Skyline from Brian. Tyrese got a really gay-looking Eclipse. I'm sorry. I don't know if we're gonna get demonetized or whatever.
I'll be excluding this word.
Yeah, but damn, that thing sucked. Yeah. But in the second one, they had the Euro spec M3 in that shit.
Yep.
Like very little screen time for that one. I would say that's kind of a secret little car in that one. Tokyo Drift, again, another RX-7 and Han's RX-7. Although a lot of people know now it's an RX-7 and it's a very popular car. But when that first came out, nobody realized that was an RX-7, dude.
Just like I said, because it's that Veal slide body kit makes it look like a completely different. It looked like an NSX underneath there. It's
like that. I can't point to any specific one in the fourth. The fifth, I would say, is either the GT40 or the 72 Skyline that Brian was driving at the very beginning. And I haven't watched the other ones enough to really.
I don't think there's much sleeper in there. I mean, they probably have because there's a few where they have big groups of cars that don't have much to do with the storyline. So it's like whatever they could find, kind of like the Too Fast, Too Furious scene where they get the entire car community in the area to come out of the garages.
Yeah,
like,
everyone's like, what is going on?
Yeah, looking back now, you'd probably pause and be like, oh shit, there's that. Oh my God, there's that car.
Yeah. I have paused it. I found like 4 Eclipses in that group.
Like
the good ones. I was like, why don't you have the Gen 2 Eclipse in there? Like, why'd you do the Gen 3? I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, if you watch some of the like the behind the scenes documentaries type stuff, the car selection was interesting. I think that had a lot to do with what they ended up with. And I think there were some talks of like cooler cars or whatever. There was also accessibility, right? They got a certain type of Evo for Too Fast, Too Furious. It wasn't like an Evo. I think it was technically.
I think they might have gotten something from Mitsubishi too. Like there was some sort of like contractual agreement with them.
Yeah.
Because the 2 main cars were Mitsubishi cars.
Yeah, and there's always been a Mitsubishi, I'm pretty sure. Like the first one, there was at least the Eclipse. The second one, they had Eclipse and Evo. A Tokyo Drift, they had the Evo. I'm pretty sure there's probably an Evo in the fourth one.
I think there is an Evo in the fourth one in the racing with Brian and Dom. No Mitsubishi cars, I think, in the fifth one. And I know the first 5 I know very well. 6 and 7 I get a little hazy on. And then 8, 9, and 10 I have no clue what has happened in those outside of like what I've seen on TikTok or Instagram or something. And I'm like, God, I am so glad I did not watch that movie.
Yeah. I guess as closure for this episode, because we're probably hitting time, have you seen that Vin Diesel has done some marketing around continuing the series, but trying to go back to the grassroots?
I have not. If he does, that would be fucking awesome, just so that we can kind of get a continuation. I still think it's going to be shit because they don't have Brian. You can't really, especially if you're going back to San Pedro, to the house.
Yeah, or
if they got the house
like
back.
That.
You kind of have to get Brian involved at that point. If he can somehow figure out a way where Brian makes cameos, whether, having his brothers play him, like CGI is fucking good enough now.
Oh yeah, deepfakes, it was pretty good when they did it in Fast 5.
Yeah.
It's even better now. Like they've done it in a ton of Marvel movies, and you can barely, like, they de-age people is what they have done.
And like,
it looks great.
If you can not have him play a major part, but like have him there, right? Maybe as, you call him and he's, I can't get to it right now. Or like he shows up, like there's like a big chase scene or something, and all of a sudden a skyline comes out of nowhere, smacks the car away, and just like shows his face real quick, like, I got you guys. And then like out, right?
Yeah.
At least he's involved. And you can say like, all right, yeah, he's staying away from the group enough where he can protect his kid, but like at the same time, that itch to like, I want to go do something crazy, kind of takes over, and he's able to get in. I think that would be probably the only way you can continue to make this franchise successful, is you go back to those roots, you somehow get Brian involved again, and you make it kind of the Den of Thieves mentality, where it seems like somebody watches it, they actually start contemplating of like, I can do that.
Yeah.
I can go do a heist.
Idea, hear me out. Dom and Letty have a kid. Fast forward 20 years. Dom and Letty's kid runs into some other busta. Turns out it's baby Dom.
Dude.
Reignite.
Kid, you
holy
can literally,
shit. And he could almost redo the first movie. Not the full storyline, but have them come together and have the actual baby Dom, have him be like, my dad used to race cars and blah, blah. And then Paul Walker's kid would be like, whoa, so did mine. He had a skyline.
Yeah.
Oh shit, no way. My dad used to talk about the skyline.
No, they need to have it switch. But like, baby Dom is the cop, and fucking
shit, yeah.
Or not baby Dom's cop, but baby Dom is what Dom would be, and then Dom's kid is the cop, and so they reversed them,
bro.
And
because he became a cop because of how much shit he saw his dad going through.
Yeah,
and then Paul when Walker's they asked,
baby Dom
bad because he never saw his dad because he was sheltered, but that's what happens when shelters, they get bad.
Exact.
Bro,
boom.
Send this transcription to the freaking studios. We're doing this shit.
They get that connection, basically, like where they start to realize that their dads were very close or somehow knew each other.
Yeah.
Would be like baby Dom has a Charger, like the Dominic's Charger.
Yep.
And Dom's kid will be like, oh, my dad used to have a Charger like that, whatever. And he's like, oh yeah, my dad told me my uncle gave this to me. I never really saw him ever, but
holy shit.
And then,
dude, I think we just found a way to save Fast and Furious. I didn't think we were going to end this episode this way. Honestly, like I wrote down the title as The Fall of Fast and Furious because it has fallen. It's fallen way off of the cuff. I did not think we were going to come up with the savior. This is legit the best potential storyline that could revive this type of thing and have them be just grassroots. It's like they want to modify their cars. And with the level of filmmaking these days, like it could be
it could be way better.
Yeah, and the variety of motorsports now. Like when Fast and Furious came out and then Too Fast, Too Furious, it was really it was circuit racing. There was a little bit of rally interest. There was no drifting. But like now you have all these different arenas that you can touch to make this a badass movie. I'm writing this shit. And if it doesn't become if it doesn't come to fruition, we're going to make a fan film one of these days, and it's going to feature some two kids that we find.
I got it. We'll have to wait 16 years.
When Zeke is at least old enough. Hell yeah.
Hopefully you're not as bad at being in front of the camera as your dad.
He will be the perfect mix, too, because, Paul Walker, white, Mia, Hispanic.
Yeah. Yeah, we got the genders mixed on that one, but it would work. And he's blonde hair, blue-eyed. I'm just saying.
I guess, I don't know if we can wait that long, but hey.
Yeah, I don't think...
This idea needs to happen now.
the way that they're going, we might be able to wait this one. They'll be on like Fast and Furious 33 or some shit, right?
Or no, they do this one where Vin Diesel's like, yeah, we're gonna go back to the grass, and then it sucks, so they just delete the project, and then in 10 years we can just own the rights.
Right.
Buy Fast and Furious.
I'd like to buy these rights. I don't know how we're gonna do that unless we win the lottery, so keep playing. But
yeah,
we'll figure that one out.
I know you suck at naming, but let's end this with what's the name of the movie? Because it's
the
not
name
Fast
of the
and
movie.
Furious. Yeah,
I would probably call it.
It's Fast and Furious.
Yeah, it's Fast and Furious. But like, I don't know if I would go.
Like, do you go corny and you're like revved up in reverse?
Yeah.
In the comments, if whoever watches this and gets this far, let us know. What's your idea for a name for a Fast and Furious movie where the kids of Dominic Toretto and Paul Walker or Brian O'Connor or Buster come together?
Buster. Or you just call it Buster.
Fast and Furious. Buster's back.
Buster's return.
That's how it starts out. They bump into each other and Dom's kid goes, "Hey Buster, give me that drink." It's like, what'd you just call me?
Ain't no Buster. I ain't never knocked on nobody. Thanks
for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you're new, consider joining the crew. By subscribing, not only will you get fresh content weekly, but you're also entering to win our first giveaway, a set of wrenches from Harbor Freight, Icon Wrenches, and a Daytona Jack and Jack stands. I think total that might be about $300 value. This will be our first of many garage style giveaways, as well as we'll jump into the car giveaways because everyone kind of does that, and we kind of have a fun, interesting idea of a way that we can spin it. In order to win any of our giveaways, you will at least need to be a subscriber to the channel. And then jump down into the comments, let us know what topics you think we should cover in the next podcasts. And if you're not new, you know exactly what to do. Hit the like button, leave a comment, share this video. Those are the ways that grow the crew. And until the next one,
I think I got a vendetta.
I'll see you later, crew.
Oh, now they call me, I seen them. All of those times getting severed. I told them all I get let up. They get not tired of me never. Give me a shot and I swear I shoot like Beretta.